Welcome to OASIS Tokyo, where we explore the lives of professionals living and working in Japan. Our guest for today is Erik. Thank you very much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Congrats on the podcast, guys.
Thank you so much. So for our listeners here, I think it'd be great if you could just tell us a bit more about yourself, maybe a brief self-introduction, and let us know what you do here in Japan.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Erik Micotto. I'm a photographer and a cinematographer/director. I've been out here 16 years now.
Wow.
And originally from California, born and raised. My mother was half Japanese and my grandmother was full Japanese.
Okay.
So I have a little bit of a connection there.
Ah, okay. Fantastic. Yeah. Whereabouts in Japan were your family from?
They're all based in Osaka.
Oh.
They're all very concentrated in that one area.
So you have another Kansai dialect person with us today.
Yeah. I lived out there for the first year and a half of my time out there.
Fantastic. And then you've been in Tokyo ever since then?
Exactly.
Fantastic.
I actually had only been to Osaka when I decided to move, so that's all I knew. I didn't know what Tokyo was like, and I made the choice to move, so I thought, okay, I'll be close to family.
Okay, so you kind of do the sort of directing and photography, as you've mentioned. Just wondering, what brought you to do that type of work here in Japan? Were you originally doing that in the US?
Yeah, so I was doing web design and graphic design.
Okay.
Since a kid, kind of as a hobby. I grew up in Palm Springs, California, so we were doing websites for local salons and local community kind of stuff. My twin brother, we worked together on that. After high school, I moved to New York and kind of started pretty quickly working in the city, doing web design and packaging for a fashion company. And as I was doing that, one day they laid off the photographer that worked at our company and said, Erik, can you jump in and take some stills of handbags? And I knew nothing about the camera. But we would have days where I would have to photograph 200 bags.
Wow.
And I think out of the pure repetition of just bag photo and, if I do this knob, it looks a little brighter. Or if I put this board here, it reflects some light.
Okay.
Out of the pure repetition, I kind of got a knack for it and realized I liked the instant gratification, pushing the shutter and having something to work with. I wanted to be an illustrator as a kid, but I didn't have the patience. Photography, you just push it and you have something to work with.
Right.
And then you go into Photoshop and you can tweak it and have fun. So from that point, I kind of made the conscious decision to pursue photography.
Okay. And then you decided to pursue photography in Japan, which I feel like is another step as well. What was the sort of, the flow of that journey?
Yeah. So as a kid, I had visited my family. They had, when I was 14, my uncle invited my brother and I out for a summer. So kind of first time traveling abroad. Coming from Palm Springs, which is kind of a small little desert community, and suddenly being in Osaka with the neon lights and everything. Just
very different environment, I can imagine.
I was a Dragon Ball fan growing up, so anime and everything was just surrounded by it. So
super exciting.
Was pretty blown away. And working in New York, I thought, okay, I'm 25. If I don't move now, it's just going to get harder to do it. Also, wanting to shift from graphic designer to photographer was kind of tricky, especially when everybody knows you as a photographer. So being able to uproot and go to somewhere brand new and kind of restart, it made it a lot smoother in that sense.
Did you always plan to sort of, you said you've been here for, over a decade now. Was that always the intention when you came here to start photography? Was there something about Japan that particularly pulled you or made you want to stay?
I think it was just me wanting to try living here. We all kind of have a longing for something that's different from where we grew up. You can see a lot of Japanese who want to be in the States.
Yeah.
It's just different. And it was the same thing for me. I didn't figure it out or plan it too much. I just knew I had to try it and see how it went.
Yeah. Was there a particular wow moment or something that you look back on, you think that was one of the things that made me really think, oh, this is the place I want to do this, this job?
Kind of everything. It was so different from where I came from.
Right.
Yeah, I can't get specific, but just coming from the desert where, there wasn't much to do unless you swam or played golf, which I didn't do either of.
Okay.
So, it just felt right, the city vibe. I liked being in New York as well, and it just kind of made sense.
Is there, this is maybe a complete amateur question to ask you, but through the lens of a camera, when you look at different sceneries in the city or in Japan, is there something that feels like quintessentially Japanese, or an image that you sort of look at that you're thinking that encapsulates Japan for me?
Well, so I do a lot of commercial photography and as well as automotive, and I hate to say it gets a little bit repetitive sometimes. Every year I get a phone call saying, Erik, we want to shoot the car with cherry blossoms.
Okay.
And It's just like I always see it coming. I usually do 2 or 3 a year. We get the timing right, and we'll have these cherry blossoms. I'll have fake ones that I'll hold in front of the lens too, because sometimes the weather's not great.
But unpredictable with the years.
Super unpredictable. Sometimes we have to fake it. But that's kind of an imagery that speaks Japan to me.
Yeah.
With that said, my aesthetic, and whether it's automotive or like portraiture, which I do both of, I kind of try not to lean too much into that aspect. There's a lot of like amazing landscape photographers that shoot super cool scenes in like Shinjuku and stuff like that. I'm a little more, I guess, on the commercial or lifestyle spectrum, and a lot of the photos we actually shoot here are used globally too. So sometimes we actually try to make it look not Japanese.
Okay. So there's, I guess, like a different expectation or need depending on the sort of purpose or utilization of the photograph. I didn't know that about the industry. That's
There's
really
also a huge
interesting.
different aesthetic between, like, say, portraiture of Japanese in Japan versus like Western portraiture.
Right, of course.
Our faces are very different.
Yes.
Our noses are a little bigger. And the way that we light a Western person, you can have a little more liberty to kind of go more extreme and dramatic. When I first came to Japan, I would walk into like a 7-Eleven and just really try to avoid looking at the magazine rack. I didn't want to be influenced because the lighting was very flat.
Right.
For Asian faces, we tend to just put the light, straight on the face and not have as much shadows. At first, I hated that, but then I realized that's kind of the aesthetic that works for those types of faces.
Yeah.
So there's some kind of differences there, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's super interesting. I think, we'd love to maybe learn a bit more about the sort of differences and rhythms with working in this industry in Japan. And obviously, this passion or interest of yours in moving from New York to Tokyo, that becoming kind of like a lifelong journey and passion is something that I think people would be super keen to hear about. So in the next episode, we'd like to explore a bit more about what it's actually to work like on site here in Japan.